So hello everyone and welcome to the weekly coder. In today's video we are going to be creating a very responsive navigation bar using just HTML and CSS. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So over in our Visual Studio Code, as you can see, I already created my files. So let me remove this. So as you can see, we have our index of HTML file, we have our style.css, and we have our main.js, which is our JavaScript file. So we'll just be using the HTML and CSS. We wouldn't need to use the JavaScript. So over on our HTML document, we are going to create our simple HTML structure. So just follow what I do, and hopefully you'll get, by the end of this video, you understand how to create a simple responsive navigation bar. So we are going to create a container tag that's going to house the entire navigation bar or the entire HTML page. So inside the container, we are going to create a header. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of problem with my H key, so I'll be using my virtual keyboard from time to time. So inside my header, we're going to create a logo tag, and we'll just call this navbar. Next, we'll create our another lists and anchor tag. So in here, we are going to be creating our nav links, which should be our home, about, services, and contacts. And finally, we are going to create our button. So normally when creating buttons, we normally link those buttons to other parts of the website, or maybe to an external link. So when creating a button, we normally add an anchor tag inside the button tag just to provide an anchor link to a different page, different web page. But a problem with this is that when you put a anchor tag inside a button tag, the button has its own padding that is given to the anchor tag. So when hovering over some certain parts of that button, you wouldn't normally some parts wouldn't actually hover, or if you click some parts of the button, those parts wouldn't toggle anything. So to avoid this, we just use, I normally use an anchor tag and just style it as a button. So let's run our live server. If you don't have live server installed, you can just simply come out to the extension and just click live server, and it will just create open up the live server, and then you can just install it directly inside your Visual Studio Code. It's a very helpful function to use while coding, since it automatically refreshes your browser anytime you make changes to your code. So over on our anchor, our button, we are going to just create a text: visit sites. So we wouldn't link it to anywhere yet, but in case you wish to link it to anywhere, this is where you put your links. So for now, we're just going to leave it as a hashtag. So now we're finished with styling the HTML portion of the design navigation bar. Next up, we'll move to the CSS. So before moving to our CSS file, we're going to create our CSS link. So we're going to just first start by typing link and enter. Then inside this href attribute over here, we put the link to our CSS file. Then you hover over it, and this will just directly take you to your CSS file. So here we are at our CSS file. Now we are going to remove all default paddings and margins. So to do that, we'll set the margin to 0 and the padding to 0. We'll also give it a box sizing of border box and a default font family of Verdana. I normally use Poppins, but since Poppins is not available on my HTML font family selections, we are just going to stick with Verdana. Over to our container. Since we named, as you can see, the entire page is inside a container tag, which we gave a class name container. So to style this tag, we are going to select this class name container. So to do that, we first use a full stop and click type in the word container. We'll give it a width of 100%. Let me just copy this H, then give it a height of 100 ph. So hopefully that's let's just give it a border so you can see what we just did. So a height of 100 ph is just simply the entire height of this screen right here. So you can see this is the entire height of the screen, and this is the entire width, which is 100%. So if I increase it, this is what it looks like. So let's remove that border. Then we'll go to styling our header. So in cases where you didn't give a class name to a particular HTML tag, you can just simply select the tag name and just add it to your CSS, and whatever style you give to that tag name will be made on the code. The only problems with this is if you have numerous similar tag names or the same tag names for different sections of your page. So that will be really troublesome if you just use the tag names instead of creating a class name. So normally we create a class name, but since we are just going to be doing the header, we just have a single header, so I'll just select header and use it that way. Since our header, will set the width to 100% and we'll set the height to 60 pixels. Give it a background color of blue, not actually a pure blue, but kind of faded blue. Yeah, something like that. Set the display to flex. Justify content space between, that will push them far apart. Then align items to the center. Then we'll give it a padding. For the top and bottom, we'll give it a padding of 0. For the left and right, we'll give it a padding of 20 pixels. Now we'll go on to select the logo tag where we have the name navbar, as you can see over here. So give it, first of all, give it a color of white, font weight of bold, and let's just give it a text transform to be uppercase. Perfect. Just increase the font size a little to 1.1 rem. Nice. Next up is our unordered lists. Firstly, we'll give it a display of flex. Then we'll remove these dots that are following each link. So to do that, we'll set the list style. So we'll set the list style to none. And finally, we'll give it a gap of 2 rem. Now we are going to select the anchor tags within the list tag. So to do that, we select the list tag, then the anchor tag, give it a color of a kind of faded white. We remove the bottom underline by setting the text decoration to none. Finally, we are going to design style the button tag. So let's just So to do this, we'll just give it a class name of button. The reason we're giving it a class name and not just directly selecting the tag name, which is A here, is because we have several A tags. So if we select the A tag and give the style, thinking that we're styling this, it will end up styling the rest of them as well. So we don't want that. So we're just going to give it a class name of button. Over in our CSS file, we'll select the class name button. We'll give it a background white. Give it a color, which will be the same color as the background of the header. Set the text decoration to none. Give it a padding. For the top and bottom, give it 0.5 rem. For the left and right, to give it 1 rem. Add a border radius 40 pixels, and finally reduce the font size to 0.97 rem. Much better. So now we are through with the desktop view of the navigation bar, which this is the desktop view. So now we are going to be styling the mobile view. So to do that, you can just right click on your browser and select inspect, and that will just create the mobile view for you. Or if you don't see it in this mobile view format, you can come over here and just click it, and to just select between desktop and mobile. So good to know. Now we are going to be styling for the mobile view. So to do that, we are going to first create our media screen. We'll set the max width to 500 pixels. So anything below 500 pixels, we are going to anything below 500 pixels, whatever style we put inside here would work for mobile screen, and whatever style outside 500 pixels, which is the remaining styles up here, would work for only desktop screen. So that is how we normally make a responsive design. So first up, we're going to start by removing this our unordered list. To do that, we'll come here and select UL. We'll give it a position of absolute. Yes, give it a top of 60 pixels. Background, we'll change the background to the RGB background we used. Yes, then give it a width of 100%. Left to be 0, and padding for the top and bottom should be 20 pixels. Left and right would be 0. Okay, let's give it the entirety as 20 pixels. Perfect. Then we'll give it a border top style of 1 pixel solid white. That's to differentiate between the main top navigation bar and the links. Then what else? I think that is all. So as you can see, we have made it mobile responsive. As you can see, this is still below 500 pixels. So if we increase it above 500 pixels, you see that its style changes. And once we move it back below 500 pixels, it changes back. But you can see there's a little problem. The links isn't aligned to the center. We want it to be aligned to the center. So to do that, we'll come back to our HTML, back to the unordered list, and we'll just align. So we'll use justify content center. So that will set the content to the center by the y-axis, while align item center we set the content to the center by the x-axis. So it's important to keep that in mind. Align items is for the x-axis, justify content is for the y-axis. And also there is another way of which you can also style this navigation bar, which is bringing the entire another list down to the bottom here. So to do that, we'll set the bottom to 0, and that will just bring it to the bottom. But there is a flaw in doing this, because what if the user starts to scroll? If we leave the position as absolute, when the user starts to scroll, this navigation bar will just follow and scroll up. So let's just make an example. Let's come here and set the height to 200 ph. So now let's scroll. You can see what I mean. It just follows up and scroll. So to fix that, we'll come over here and we'll set the position to fixed. So that will fix that. So even if the user is scrolling, the position remains the same. So it just remains the same. We also need to put that for the main header also. So we'll come to the header and we'll set the position to fixed as well, and that will position the header to the top as well. So this is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you have learned something from this video. So today we have learned how to create a simple responsive navigation by using just HTML and CSS. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my video for more tutorials on coding.